The last sound the researchers recorded before the forest went silent was a single crow call at 3:47 a.m. and then 72 hours of nothing on equipment sensitive enough to detect a beetle walking across a leaf. That is exactly what happened in the forests of northern Finland in the early hours of March 2026. Hikers, researchers, and local villagers all reported the same thing. The night before, a strange light moved across the sky above the Cargill and Congus Woodland Reserve. Not a meteor, not a plane, something that hovered, pulsed with a pale blue glow, and then simply vanished. And when the sun rose the next morning, every single animal sound in that forest had disappeared. Now here is where it gets genuinely unsettling. Wildlife researchers who entered the forest with audio recording equipment captured something remarkable on their instruments. The baseline ambient noise of the forest, what scientists call the biophony, had dropped to near zero. No bird calls, no amphibians, no deer moving through the undergrowth. Even insects, which are almost impossible to silence entirely, had gone completely quiet. But the trees were still standing. The plants were untouched. No visible signs of anything unusual, just silence. Biologists from the University of Helsinki were brought in to investigate. Their initial hypothesis was some kind of infrasound event, a low-frequency pulse that could trigger mass fear responses in animals, essentially causing them to freeze or flee the area simultaneously. Military testing occasionally produces these effects. Certain geological events can too. But here is the problem with that theory. Animals do not stay frightened for days. The silence persisted for nearly 72 hours. That is not a fear response. That is something else entirely. The second theory, gaining serious traction, involves electromagnetic disruption. Some researchers believe the light event may have been connected to an unusual geomagnetic disturbance recorded in Scandinavian monitoring stations that same evening. Birds navigate using magnetic fields. Disruption at the right frequency could theoretically send mass confusion signals through entire populations simultaneously, causing them to relocate or enter a kind of dormant behavioral state. But even this theory has gaps. It does not account for insects and ground-dwelling mammals responding in the same way. On the third day, sounds began returning. First the insects, then smaller birds, then gradually, over the following week, the forest returned to its normal acoustic signature. No animals were found dead. No migration patterns seemed permanently altered. So what actually happened? Honestly, no one knows with certainty yet. The investigation is ongoing and the data is still being analyzed. What we do know is this: the natural world communicates in frequencies and patterns we are only beginning to understand. Events like this remind us how fragile those systems actually are and how quickly the familiar can become profoundly strange. The forest went silent. Then it found its voice again. But the question of why, the question of what that light was and what it did, remains completely open. Nature keeps its secrets well, and sometimes the most terrifying sound in the world